in this secret project.
Said that there is footage and records of objects in the skies using unidentified aerial phenomenon. And he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask it again. Thank you.
You can only imagine what they have and what they've learned in this secret program that they're not revealing to us. When are we going to have access to that?
If you hide the information rather than revealing it to everyone, then it becomes much easier for it to be seen as conspiracy. So being able to shed light on all of this and make it available for objective study and eliminate the conspiracy aspect of any of this.
We can right now. There's no reason, that, in my opinion, why they shouldn't do some public hearings on this. It's a perfect time to do it.
Harry Reid remained involved with this right up until the time that he died. Thankfully, there was another person in government who came along to carry on his legacy and pick up the torch.
My name is Kirsten Gillibrand. I'm a senator from New York, and I sit on the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. On the Armed Services Committee, over the last decade, we've had very minimal reporting on UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And I was talking to some staff, and they said, well, if you were interested in this topic, you should really talk to Harry Reid. So I called him, and I said, Harry, I'm really interested in this issue of UAPs. Can you give me some advice on it? And he said, well, it's really important, and you should definitely work on it. The more I sort of pushed on this issue, the more I realized that our armed forces were able to capture video footage of unidentified aerial phenomena. But over time, have decided it's best to say nothing if you see something that you can't identify, because you may well be seen as someone who is crazy and that it will harm your career. We just need to know the facts, and that is certainly our responsibility as members of Congress to find those facts.
We spend a lot of time, a lot of resources assuring that our aircraft operate safely, and to think that we would ignore a potential safety issue because of a little skepticism around it, it just doesn't make sense. I thought that we had to express this in the public life and make it okay to talk about, but not just for people, but for elected officials.
Hey y'all.
Now seeing some things just that now documents.
Good evening. I'm making a this no bake strawberry cheesecake. What y'all do today? I work and just trying to get shit done around the house. I double tomorrow.
I served 20 years in the U.S. Navy.
My name is David Fravor. I'm a retired Navy commander, Super Hornet pilot, where I flew for 18 years for the United States Navy.
Dave Fravor and I were asked by the Pentagon if we would agree to go into closed.
You love cheesecake? Yeah, me too. This one's good. This is a no bake, one of those no bake ones, but they're good. It's a strawberry one.
We look down and we see long cylindrical white objects grounded in, roughly 40 feet long, that look like a giant tic tac.
When you have a face-to-face meeting with these pilots, when they describe the detailed incidents and the encounters, and you feel the emotion, it becomes virtually impossible to deny that this is something
Hey Zach, hey Perry. This is a strawberry cheesecake. A no-bake recipe one. You like cheesecake? And thank you, by the way, for the compliment.
Could not stop asking questions. It was a classified briefing. The military and others are taking this issue seriously. The previous generations may not have been the case.
I don't know if you've seen this. I put up. It is. This one has graham cracker.
We can allow the stigma to keep us from having to answer a very fundamental question.
Clearly something's going on. Right where you start.
What is to the bottom of this? Get everything on the table that was known about.
I'm watching this History Channel about like the government trying to cover up the alien shit. Do y'all believe in that? I do. And all those Epstein files, y'all know I believe in that. But this is like all the aliens and the CIA covering shit up.
The release next month of a highly anticipated military report.
For this report from the Director of National Intelligence, we know her responsible services would be, the Air Force in particular. We're very eager to see what they would come up with.
The U.S. intelligence community has finally released its highly anticipated UFO report.
The Pentagon is taking it seriously, saying it's possible this is
Yeah, strawberry.
and a dangerous threat.
In this report, it states specifically that there were 144 incidents that this report reviewed.
Wow, our government is so fucked up, y'all.
There were 13 incidents that showed unusual air characteristics. Start, stop, hovering, incredible speed, things that they couldn't explain.
The report established that UFOs are a real physical phenomenon. It also stated that they were not American technology, and there was no evidence that they were either Russian or
Hope
Chinese.
YouTube don't block my video. They've been blocking them.
What we don't know is what caused this phenomena.
Just like Tube, but
They don't know the first thing about you. Walmart costs. Like your Walmart Plus membership, free delivery on more than just groceries. Free delivery on these apples and this shirt. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
We get 5G speeds. But
How's your year?
complicated.
Oh, your side jobs. I need more of me just to get by.
No, you just need more of me. Jackson Hewitt. Me make your refund work as hard as you.
and I just put some melted butter in here. Mixed it with the graham cracker.
So, thank you on that. Break all of me and relax.
Can I take this thing out?
Who gets the refund?
Me? It's 5 year.
Rest easy, Jack's got your taxes guaranteed.
Coming out of this report has opened up a door because the report, in effect, is inconclusive.
They came back with a report that was pretty lame, I thought. I said I could have written it when I was in the 5th grade. Very short, nothing.
It was very clear to most people that.
What up, Mike?
Conspicuously absent.
You know what I wanted to ask you? Since you're always in here,
To what the Air Force was tasked
and I can count on you, you want to be a mod? Will you be a mod?
Dear civilian astronomer, Dr. Alan Pineapple became increasingly increasingly dissatisfied as a scientist because they weren't approaching it scientific way.
We've always wanted independent media. They wanted to invest.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but
There's nothing that.
Mazel, you're always in here, so you could be one of my
This
mods.
continues the fine long tradition of the Air Force neglecting the UFO problem.
The Air Force, of course, has the most sensors, the most capability, and the responsibility for monitoring air and space. That's the primary source you would turn to for information, and they were not forthcoming.
What I fear is that government.
Be my mod.
has to do a-
Like, do you know what that is?
Minimally acceptable report.
You don't know what that is?
I feel
Like, you just clean up the chat when trolls come in. Like Paulie and Matt would do.
When I joined the Intelligence Committee, I began to see that we weren't actually getting the reporting that I thought Congress would have been getting on UAPs. That gave me very serious concern that we're not given the information we need to do our jobs.
It's like trying to put a puzzle together when the pieces are in different rooms all over different buildings.
Heinrich told me very wisely that there is no such thing as a U.S. government. There
That's
are
okay.
agencies with their own focus, their own technologies, and their own budgets. So it's very difficult to get those agencies to converge on a new phenomenon that doesn't seem to belong to anyone.
Government agencies definitely need to play a role in gathering data about UFOs, but if they don't organize this
Trying to
data
get it
and
up more,
centralize
but
it, then a lot of it
fucking
could
crap.
be lost. We know at least one case where the material was passed around from agency to agency, and that was the Aguadilla case.
Aguadilla is an incident where the local airport detected a UFO. They notified the U.S. Customs Enforcement aircraft with a sophisticated infrared camera system. They were able to observe it and film it for 5 minutes or so. It's a curious little craft. It doesn't appear to have rotors. It's unclear how it can fly without wings. How come there are no pictures? Well, there's quite an extensive video officially taken by the U.S. government of yet another UAP.
The Aguadilla video was shuffled around in Homeland Security, and apparently they sent a copy of the video to the Air Force and said, "You got to tell us what you see." And the Air Force replied back, "Why don't you contact a civilian UFO group?" And so that's how we got access to the video. This is the object that's being tracked by the Homeland Security aircraft. You have latitude, longitude, coordinates, and you have all the information. Pause right there. Currently, I'm an executive board member with the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. This organization consists of about 160 people, almost all of them have backgrounds in science. We provide a location where scientists can actually come and research the subject without the stigma that's often associated with it. We broke the video down into frames and looked at it frame by frame. And the first time I saw the video and watching it, it really dropped me on. And then to me, you see the object go into the water. I can hardly see a splash. I mean, how did it do that? But the really exciting part was it comes out of the water, and then you see two objects. Right there, now there's two objects. The pilot, you'll see, is magnified because he's like, what in the heck is going on? When I looked at it frame by frame, there was not enough object. This object simply split in half into two objects. That's what really made the video so anomalous. But I have no explanation for it. It's just what the data showed.
The Aguadilla video could have easily fallen through the cracks. There are countless other videos that just sit in some agency that we don't even know about.
We have this video data, and we actually have this. But there's a lot more.
legislation from New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
A bipartisan amendment proposed in the National Defense Authorization Act would create a permanent office.
Permanent government office tasked with investigating unidentified aerial phenomena.
These are serious issues of national security and technology that we should know about.
In December of 2021, Congress enacted the Gillibrand Amendment, which created a new office to study the UAP phenomenon.
What I would expect it to be is some of the brightest minds in the whole country focused on this specific review. Mathematicians and scientists and astrophysicists and people who understand how to look at this phenomenon and analyze it.
The people interested in this have been calling for this for so long, and that it's finally happening is just amazing. And this is only the beginning. The legislation that was proposed by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was important in so many ways, but one thing that stood out was she wanted the office to research materials that are allegedly connected to crashed UFOs.
We should never be afraid of what we don't know. I know nothing about crashed materials. I don't even know if they exist. If there are any, of course they should be studied. And if we don't know what it is, it's not an appropriate response to say, well, then let's not look at it.
I'm Gary Nolan. I'm a professor of pathology at Stanford. My background is in genetics, microbiology, virology, and cancer biology. When some scientist friend heard that I was working on UFOs, he said, well, you're going to ruin your career. It got me mad. It's just data. I'm not coming to any conclusions. People have been seeing these things for so long, and somehow we seem to feel like we need government to tell us that it's okay to believe in it. I don't agree with that kind of approach to life. I don't need anybody to tell me what it is.
Hey, Tyrone, how are you?
He's a Nobel nominee and a Stanford researcher, and he's just now
What you doing tonight?
He's dealing with something here.
I'm making this strawberry cheesecake.
That's just something outside of our current understanding. But that doesn't mean we should shy away from it. It just means we should understand.
In your opinion, does the U.S. government have crashed materials in their possession?
Yes.
What's really important about physical materials is that they could possibly reveal that these were not from Earth. Gary works with Jacques Vallée on these studies. Jacques, he's a computer scientist and astronomer. He also has been studying UFOs, of course, and has been one of the most original thinkers in that field.
I brought some of the other materials here that we've been looking at. I mean, there was 30 pounds of this dropped on the ground in a molten state.
There are a number of cases where people saw an object coming from the sky and crashing.
No, Mike, I don't think.
When I spoke to physicists, they said, well, Jacques, it's fascinating that you haven't given me.
They were interviewing people in the Navy and CIA, or Navy, that are exposing shit.
This is the magnesium isotope ratios for Ubatuba.
I wonder why people always expect it to be very complex, intermaterials.
One of the cases that Jacques and Gary studied involved a UFO event that occurred in 1957. Jacques had collected samples and he brought them into the lab and worked with Gary on the case.
The Ubatuba event was the fisherman. He sees a glowing object over the ocean that suddenly exploded and just shattered these magnesium chunks, bright silvery metal, all over the ground and in the water. The fisherman went back and corrected this stuff.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Decades later, Gary was able to study it in his lab. He found that for the magnesium sample, the way it was held together was something that had been manipulated.
Can't wait to eat
That
this.
they were part of some industrial process that had engineered them to be different.
My boys are gonna love it.
Interesting. Maybe it was being used for propulsion. Maybe it was used for energy generation. It's a physics we just don't understand. But who couldn't be excited about potentially understanding? Because imagine what we could do with it. If you could so easily move from one place to another, as in the videos that have been seen, the energy that is necessary to do that, who needs coal-fired power plants anymore? So that, to me, is one of the most important parts about thinking about the phenomenon. If you take the data off the table, and you don't allow it to be part of the solution could be staring you in the face, but you just threw it in the garbage. That's not how a scientist approaches science.
Fear grows in darkness. It's essential that you have light and transparency.
You'll hear
There's
that?
nothing to me
Fear
that
grows
is
in
frighteningly
darkness.
more worrisome about research and study and analysis. That is what scientists and
Your university has been making education affordable and attainable.
Sorry, y'all.
I look at problems differently because fundamentally I'm a farm boy. I used to drive the tractor to the hills of the village and read philosophy books because I was mostly interested about the fundamental questions. How did everything start?
Is that Trent? Strawberry cheesecake.
If we see an object in the sky, we should not assume that it's natural or human-made, but rather get more evidence on it if it doesn't look familiar. So this is the roof.
Yep, strawberry cheesecake, guys. What's up, Trent?
The telescope system will be
over there.
Yeah, what we will have
What
is
you doing
a
tonight?
dome-shaped array of infrared cameras that look at the entire sky at all times. We will monitor the sky and have an artificial intelligence software that analyzes what we see and tries to identify whether it's a bird, a drone, an atmospheric phenomena, or something else. We allow for the possibility of an extraterrestrial technological origin, which makes us different from the rest of the scientific community that does not even allow for that possible interpretation.
The Galileo project is an extraordinary step that Dr. Loeb has taken because you have the credibility of a major scientific institution behind it. And it's giving people permission to talk about it. This is turning.
On November 10th, 2021, there was the Ignatius Forum that took place in the Washington National Cathedral. It was attended by the head of NASA, Bill Nelson, the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, Jeff Bezos, and myself.
My point is simple. Let's look at the sky and check if there's any equipment that were sent by other civilizations. And that's the goal of the Galileo project.
The Ignatius Forum was a discussion about the theological implications of discovering a smarter kid on our cosmic block. It was fascinating for me to sit next to Avril Haines, the Director of National Intelligence, when she made a statement that some of the objects might be